Unicorns and glitter and taxidermy critters are just some of the things they like. They also enjoy 80s hair bands, Grizzly Adams and John Goodman, so if you think that's weird then you can take a hike. But the things they enjoy the most are making art and cracking jokes, so without further ado, here are your hosts. You've got your two artsy gals, your two artsy gals. Here are your two artsy gals.
Hey everybody, this is Katie.
And this is Sharon.
And you are listening to the Two Artsy Gals podcast. Woohoo!
Woo!
So Sharon, fall's happening now.
Yes, it is.
It's cooled down. It's finally cooling down in Portland.
That's good. That's a good thing for Katie.
It makes
Katie
me
does
not
like the hot.
No, I fucking hate hot weather.
She becomes Miss Cranky Pants.
Miss Cranky Bitchy Pants. But when the weather cools down, not only does my mood improve, but that means that I can start crocheting again.
And that's a good thing.
Yes. I get really excited about it. Because I don't like crocheting in hot fucking weather.
No, it doesn't make sense.
No. You don't knit in hot weather, do you?
No, I don't.
It's super gross.
No.
Like
occasionally I'll be like, oh, I want to pick up that project. No. I think I'll do something else.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
You don't want a sweaty lap.
No.
No. So, today, obviously, we're going to be talking about crocheting and knitting. Because I crochet and Sharon knits.
Yeah.
So, and I'm teaching myself to knit. I took a class at Joann's to get the basics last year. I kind of have the basics down, but I'm just much faster at crocheting still.
But you did a really nice job on that cable knit piece that you did.
Thank you.
It looked really good.
I like that. And cable knitting actually was not as scary as it sounded. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, it's way easy. And the results are like, whoa, oh my god.
It looks
it's
like
a cable knit.
Yeah, and it looks like you did something really, really technical and difficult, and you totally didn't.
No.
I think we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between crocheting and knitting, because people who crochet or knit know the difference, obviously, but there are a lot of people out there I know that don't do either. Sharon, do you want to tell us a little bit about what knitting is and like the resulting fabric that you make from it, or?
Well, the real basic idea is just that you use, two needles, and you're casting on your stitches onto one needle and taking them off that needle, I guess, and putting them on the other needle. I guess that's the best description compared to like crocheting, which is one tool.
Yeah.
With knitting, you're using either two knitting needles or more. Sometimes you can use more.
Yeah, I'm working in the round.
Yeah.
Down with that. I like it better with using 3 or 4 needles than I do those round, like the knitting needles with the cable that connects them.
Oh yeah.
I don't like doing it that way. It's kind of weird too. I lose track of everything. It's all slippery.
Oh yeah. I think it just depends on the project for me.
Yeah.
But
well, I kind of feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like knitting is more weaving your yarn back and forth, whereas with crochet, you're tying little tiny knots with a hook.
Yeah, kind of like a bunch of little slip knots.
So,
and I feel like crocheting is a little bit more freeform and loose.
Definitely. I think that's why I'm better at it and faster at it. Because you can it's easier for me to kind of wing it. And I've also noticed it's really easy. It's much easier to fix a mistake in crocheting than it is knitting.
Yeah, with knitting, sometimes you can fudge it, but sometimes you just got to rip out a whole row.
Yep. Yeah, and I read this thing about backwards knitting, I was like, what? No, my head's going to fucking explode. I can't do that. That is way too advanced for me.
It's going to spontaneously combust.
I was like,
yeah,
no, I'm just tearing this apart and starting over.
Yeah, like rather than flipping it, yeah, you can go back and forth. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, and I looked up something on YouTube, like a video about how to fix a dropped stitch, or so how to go back and fix a dropped stitch without unraveling your whole shit.
Oh,
and they're like, you can backwards knit so you don't have to unravel, and then try to stick your needle back in at a certain point, because that's kind of hard and you drop stitches doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I'm starting over because I wasn't that far into it.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I crochet, like, well, in crocheting you can just unravel and it's way like the stitches are easier to get your hook back into.
Yeah.
And it's just your hook. Like you're not doing, like with knitting, you're using the needle to build your fabric on.
Yes.
Whereas with crochet, you're building your fabric without, it stands alone.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I wish I knew how to crochet more, because all I can make is just one long strand.
Well, we're going to fix that. The next time I plan on coming to see you, it's probably going to be after Christmas, because I have my ankle surgery and all that crap before Christmas. So
yeah,
it'll probably be after the holidays, but I'm going to bring my crocheting, and I will teach you crochet shit, and you can teach me knitting shit.
That would be awesome.
And it'll be so much fun.
It'd be awesome.
You sounded like the fucking dude from Robot Chicken.
No, I was doing that Steve Martin film with Eddie, with oh my god, why did I just lose his name?
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy. It's called, oh my god, I can't even think about it.
Every time we do something like this,
Ridiculous.
I can hear people like in their cars and on their treadmills go yelling the names of things.
Yeah,
I can imagine it. It's kind of hilarious.
Bowfinger. It's Bowfinger.
Honestly,
okay.
You're gonna think I'm insane, but I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, I love it. Because it's awesome. So now you have to watch it.
I can just hear the fucking Robot Chicken dude or the little, the fucking dude from Family Guy, the little Jewish kid that's in love with Meg. That's who you sound like.
Oh my god, it's so funny. So, none of those things have to do with knitting.
They absolutely don't.
Or crocheting.
No. But
it
wouldn't be two artsy gals if we didn't like sidebar off on weird shit though. So
yeah,
you know.
Right? Totally.
So getting back on track.
Okay, tell me about because you wanted to crochet socks. But that's why you learned to knit, right?
Yeah, because I personally feel like crocheted cloth is stiffer and has less give. Just when we're talking straight up like knitting or straight crochet, like you knit one, purl one, or whatever, and then not a ribbed or nothing, no fancy stitches to crochet, I feel like it's stiffer and it doesn't give as much. And I crocheted myself a pair of socks after I first learned how to crochet, and I didn't like them. They felt gross. Actually, there are Christmas stockings now. Because I don't like the feel of them on my feet.
It seems like they do really bumpy.
They're bumpy, and they don't have the stretch that regular socks should have. And you know I'm a freak about knee highs and my crazy knee high collection.
Yeah.
So of course I crocheted myself knee highs.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that didn't work out at all. Like it just... So that's why I wanted to learn how to knit. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm slow enough at it that I have not knitted myself a pair of socks yet.
Well, let me tell you. Me personally, I've knitted a sock. It's the kick-ass, most awesome-looking sock. It does not have a mate because knitting socks for me is a huge pain in the ass. Getting that heel, I just forget it. It was so ridiculous. It was maddening.
Because the heel was actually pretty easy to do in crochet, turning a heel, but I don't know how you do. I didn't even get that far with knitting. So do you use short rows, or like or are there different ways, like flap and gusset socks, or like...
Yeah, there's all sorts of different ways. I had somebody help me, so I was just like, oh my god, I can't even do that. Because the woman that taught me to knit actually lives in Ohio. She's a master knitter, and she's a friend's mom. So whenever she would come, she would help me knit and do some hard stuff. But she can just whip out a dress in an afternoon.
Like knit a whole entire dress?
Oh, yeah.
Like a sweater dress? Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, she's that fast. she just whips it out. She doesn't even have to look at a pattern.
That makes me feel hopeful, though, because that's why I don't knit more, because I can crochet a million times faster than knitting, and I'm super impatient.
She just whips this stuff out. She, like, sends hundreds of hats to soldiers in Afghanistan every year. She's amazing. And so then, of course, she's gone, so I never finished my other sock. But
I was reading something about that, like, it's called lone sock syndrome or something. A lot of knitters do that. Like, they just make
there's
one.
Actually a way that you can knit your socks at the same time. Like,
I
you do this
saw
crazy
that in
thing.
a book that I bought about socks, and again, my head almost fucking exploded. I was like, this is for advanced knitters. Like,
yeah,
I know.
And she showed me how to do it. We got started, and then again, she had to go back to Ohio. And I loved this yarn so much, and I finally just pulled it off the needles, and I'm going to use it for something else because I was just like, oh my god, this is like so maddening. I'm just going to make like some scarf out of it or something because, yeah, it drove me crazy.
That is
because
nuts.
I want to enjoy doing the knitting, you know?
Yeah, that's why I don't do like. Someone, I don't remember who it was the other day, asked me if I would knit them or crochet them in Afghan, and I said, fuck no, I won't crochet you in Afghan.
Yeah, people, that's like
I'm
on
not,
one of our other shows.
I
like,
can't fucking, I crochet the hell out of hats.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make a hat in an afternoon. Like, I can do a hat, like a machine. I can just whoop a hat out.
Mm-hmm.
I do, baby clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I've done little baby clothes and stuff. I did a really cute thing for my friend's daughter who's having a baby a few weeks ago. So... But I don't do, like, I started to crochet myself, like, a little, what do you call those little short sweaters? Like, not a bolero.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have all the parts almost finished, but I have not put it together, and I started that 2.5 years ago.
Oh, that's so funny. People don't understand, like, oh, you love to crochet. Just whip me out an Afghan. Sure, I'll just do that for you.
Oh my god,
okay?
No. That would take forever.
You know, copious amounts of time.
Yeah. No. I wouldn't, and I'm the kind of person, I don't enjoy doing things that I can't see coming to fruition before me, like, within a reasonable amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like sewing so much. Because you cut a pattern out, and you can see what's going to happen right there. And you put it together. And that's why I like crocheting. Because it happens fast enough. I like crocheting small things. Because it happens fast enough that you see it coming into shape. If I have to mindlessly drone on with something until it's the size of a blanket, fuck, I'm not going to fucking do that. No. Like, fuck that.
I need to totally, oh my god, it made me realize, okay, my grandmother made me this Afghan. It's crocheted, and it's like a zigzag pattern. It's totally in Rastafarian colors.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I had no idea that my grandmother was
Rastafari?
into reggae. It's like out of that little old lady, like polyester terrible yarn. It's that horrible scratchy. I love it though because it's like, oh my god, my grandma totally made this. I have to take a picture of it and we have to put it on the.
I have some Afghans that my great grandma made for me that are totally done in like. Do you remember like the 1980s pastel colors, country, fucking whatever?
Oh yeah.
Phase. They're made in that. I think it's like a pink and a seafoam green, like a mauvey pink and a seafoam green and a blue.
I can picture it. And is it the crappy acrylic like?
Yeah, it's acrylic scratchy yarn. So, but she made a bunch for my mom for like the backs of her couches. And somehow when I moved away from home, I mean, I've had these things for like 20 something years.
Yeah.
And I don't have the heart to get rid of them. But, I don't decorate in those colors. Blech. I'm not going to put that out on my furniture. So they're like guest blankets. And then I'm like, maybe my guests think I don't like them because this is so rough and scratchy.
You're like, say, no, I'm wrapping you in grandma's love.
Yeah.
But, like, can you imagine what, like, if our grandmas actually used, like, really nice yarn?
I know. But really nice yarn is so expensive. I actually didn't include a section on yarn in this because I thought that we would get so into yarn that it made warrant its own episode.
Yeah.
I am a yarn hoarder. I'm an everything hoarder.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But
I have to I have to like hold myself back so I'm like, I can have a basket of yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
I recently upgraded to a Rubbermaid container because my basket wasn't working, and now I have room to get more yarn. I don't know if you saw the pictures of it on my art blog I posted, and I'll post them in this too, because they're Rubbermaid containers that have a clear plastic front with a little flap door that opens, so you can see what's in it and open the door and take stuff out without having to unstack them and get them down and take the lids off them. I know, dude. I have one with fabric and one with yarn. And it is awesome.
That's amazing.
My friend organized her yarn with that. My friend Carmen, and she posted pictures online, and I was like, where did you get those? They sell them at Home Depot.
No
Not
way.
even kidding you. You can stack as many high as you want, and they have these little glass, like clear plastic front door. You look in there, you see, oh, I want my orange yarn. And you pull it forward and open it, and you take out your orange yarn, and you fucking close it. Sharon's mouth is like, her jaw just fell. Seriously. It's crazy. I love it. But yeah. So, when did you learn how to knit? Like, we should...
I think I learned how to knit. It's probably been about 5 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
So you kind of learned how to knit right around the same time I learned how to crochet.
Yeah, I did.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So can you tell our listeners like what the basic stitches are and kind of basics about it?
Yeah, all you really need to know, well, you could get on YouTube and really learn how to cast on. So you're going to cast on however many stitches you want on your needle.
I will find videos of this and post videos on our
perfect.
In the show notes on our blog so people can see. So they're not just going, fuck both you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, totally. And then really, if you know knit and purl, you can make a ton of stuff. And then it can get more complicated and you can look stuff up on YouTube and do, a little more fancy stuff. But if you know those 2 basic stitches, you're totally good to go. So yeah, if you know those 2 basic stitches, you can do a ton of stuff.
So are there other stitches other than knit and purl?
Well, there's tons of, there's like slip, knit, there's...
Oh yeah, like your slip stitches and stuff.
Yeah, you're dropping a stitch, or picking up an extra stitch, knitting 2 together, but those are like...
But it's all knit and purl are the foundation.
The foundation
of all of those stitches.
Exactly. And once you learn those, then the other ones start to make a lot more sense. But you can go a long ways. I mean, you can even do, you can start doing your cables pretty quickly too. Yeah.
And just so the listeners know, like knitting and purling, once I figured out what they were, is so easy. Like knitting is what you would do in one direction, or if you're making ribs, then you would switch from knit to purl on one side. But then you flip it over, and a purl is just a knit stitch coming in from the other direction, and you do it that way to make one side of your knitted cloth smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that easy. All it is a knit stitch in reverse, and it's just to make your cloth flat.
Yep.
So there's not bumps in it, and it's totally simple. It's nothing to be afraid of. Like, I was so relieved when I took the knitting class at Joann's. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Whew. Every time we talk about knitting, I think of that old Berenstain Bears. There was a Berenstain Bears cartoon special on, and Sister Bear was doing a cheer with her little friends going, knit 1, purl 2, country cousins, woo, woo. And that's all I sing when I knit every time. It's so funny.
That's so funny. I love the Berenstain Bears.
Me too. So what kind of tools do you need when you knit?
You need your knitting needles,
mm-hmm.
your yarn,
mm-hmm.
a pair of scissors.
A pair of scissors, and that's it.
And sometimes it's nice to have markers, but sometimes I just tie a little loop of yarn and use that as a marker. You can use a safety pin.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a little zip tie or something if you need to mark when you're counting. Because you'd slide that onto your needle So
yeah, so you know
really
where
all
you
need.
left off. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and then if you're going to do cables, like they make cable needles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
if
are
you get
just,
more into advanced stuff, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty straight up. And actually, if you think about it, it's not a very expensive hobby. It can be if you have no self-control in the yarn store.
Yeah,
So.
and then I am kind of a cheapskate, so I try to just look for patterns in the like with the size needles that I have already.
Oh, because you don't want to buy more needles.
And I should probably totally mention this now, because if you don't know about Ravelry.com, you're maybe living under a rock. Although if you're not a knitter or a crocheter, then you probably don't know about it.
No, but it's awesome.
It's like crack to knitters and crocheters. It's better than Facebook. Mm-hmm. And you can just type in like what size needle you have, what size yarn, and then you can find free patterns. You can pay for patterns. Oh my God, it's endless. I spend hours on there. It's ridiculous.
I do too. That's actually where I got the most recent pattern that I used for that little baby dress.
Oh yeah, I love it because you can, if you're like, oh, I have this size crochet needle. Mm-hmm. I don't want to buy a new needle or hook. No.
Yeah.
Then you can find a pattern. It's amazing.
I should also point out, I wanted to let you know that last year for Christmas, I found online on Amazon actually a whole entire set of knitting needles from the smallest size to the biggest size in bamboo.
Yes.
They were $24.99.
I have those on my wish list.
So, he also got me the double-ended needle sets, which I think come with 5. The double-ended each size comes with 4. Each set comes with 4 double-ended needles, and that's Sobe. What the fuck was even that? I'm talking like Yoda tonight or something. That's so for when you do things in the round, which maybe we should explain to people when you're knitting in the round. You're just making a circle.
Yeah.
Like a continuous circle.
Yeah.
Hats and socks.
I usually use it
sweaters.
Yeah. Sweaters, arms.
So crocheting, I actually have tried to learn to crochet a few times in my life. My great-grandma tried to teach me when I was younger and was like, all right, just give me that back. I'm going to do it for you. Because she wasn't very good at teaching, and I was not a very patient student at the time. So I tried to learn from her a few times, and I've had friends try to teach me before. And then I guess about 5 years ago, my husband's grandma was visiting for Thanksgiving, and she crochets. She used to crochet new hats for the whole family every year at Christmas time. So, I mean, I'm talking like a ton of hats. And she doesn't crochet as much as she used to, but she sat down and taught me. And she just ripped out what I did and told me, no, that's not right. Do it again. She still, when she sees me crochet, because I hold my thread weird, my yarn weird when I do it. It's just a way that's comfortable for me, though.
Yeah.
And the way she always goes, what the hell are you doing? Because I don't hold it right. But it's what works for me. So
that's funny. I don't hold it right with doing knitting either.
I don't know. It's just what makes me feel, I think it gives me a little bit, I think I hold it with a little more tension in it than most people do. Mm-hmm. But it keeps me from crocheting sloppy. Because I can get a little sloppy sometimes. But, yeah. So she taught me over that weekend, and then I made some really bad hats for a while and did some basic patterns. And now, I used to say that I was like an advanced beginner, but I would say that I'm pretty good at it now.
Yeah.
Like, I can read a pattern and I can whip something out pretty good. I still don't like doing big things.
Yeah, you do amazing stuff, though. Like the little baby shoes you make.
Oh, my freaking God. When I made those, my ovaries almost fucking exploded. Because they were so goddamn cute.
They were pretty stinking cute.
And I'm pretty immune to baby urges because I'm almost 42 years old and my son's 19. And blech, I don't want anything to do with that. But personally, I like other people's babies. I don't want one of my own. But when I crocheted those little tiny baby booties, like, they fit on my fucking thumbs.
Oh.
They were so cute. Well, they fit on Kurt's thumbs. That even made Kurt make dumb noises when he came in. He's like, oh. So, and if you saw my big, giant, I'm pretty much married to a giant leprechaun.
You are.
He's kind of like
babies.
He does. He's kind of like Shrek, but orange.
Yeah.
And so when he makes goo goo baby sounds, it's kind of funny and kind of gross at the same time. I don't know. It's hilarious. But so yeah, basically, and see, crocheting's the same way. People get freaked out because they think that it's difficult. But you basically learn the single crochet stitch. That's it. I mean, with knitting, you cast on your stitches onto a knitting needle. When you crochet, you chain. You make a chain of little slip knots with your hook, and you chain however long you need it to be, and then you start crocheting into that chain. And you just learn the single crochet, and all other stitches are built off of that.
Yeah.
So you have
that's what confuses me, though.
But it's so easy once you get it. Your double crochet, you really just all you're doing is wrapping the yarn around your hook one more time. And then doing the stitch twice in a row. And triple or treble crochet, you wrap around 2 more times. And then you do it 3 times instead of just 2. And for a half double, you wrap it around once, pull it through, and you don't do the extra chain. So it's all based on the one stitch, though. That's all it is. And then again, if you go forward to do the fancier lacy stuff, all you're doing is skipping stitches or slip stitching or adding stitches to it, but it's all based on that one stitch. And that's it. I think if people could get that into their minds, people that I know that have trouble learning would get that into their minds, they would they wouldn't be as freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're not learning a whole bunch of different stitches.
No.
You're learning one stitch and doing it more than once.
I really want to learn it because when I sit and watch people, I'm like, whoa, you just whipped that like a big piece out.
It's super fast. I think it's faster than knitting. I think that there are people that probably would disagree with that. But I personally think that it's faster.
Yeah, I'm not a very fast knitter, so.
I wish I was.
Yeah.
I wish I was if I was a faster crocheter, I would crochet bigger things all the time. But
you'd crochet that Afghan.
No, I wouldn't. I don't like that.
You're like, no.
I don't want to crochet anything that feels like I am covered in a blanket. Because you are covered in a blanket while you're doing it.
Yeah, well, maybe in the wintertime.
Yeah, maybe. But for crocheting, all you need are hooks. You use hooks instead of needles. You use one hook. And they come in different sizes. And I think we should probably point out that for knitting needles and crochet hooks, the size of the hook or needle determines the size of your stitch.
Yeah, and determines what size yarn you're going to use.
What size yarn you're going to use, and ultimately determines the size of the garment you're going to use. If you want to make something bigger or smaller, you use a bigger or smaller hook. To size it. So sometimes, and I never do this, when you're supposed to gauge your knitting. Do you ever do that?
No.
No. So you're supposed, in most patterns, you'll see at the bottom corner, it'll be like, I don't know, 30 something stitches equals 1 inch or whatever. I never fucking do that. I'm like, meh, I don't have time for that shit. So,
yeah.
But if you were a studious knitter or crocheter and you did do that, and maybe you were a little bit off, your 30 stitches was 1.5 inches, you would go down a size in your crochet hook or your knitting needle.
Right.
To make it tighter.
Good to know, too, because, if you decide, oh, I really want to make this pattern, but I have this size needles and this size yarn, then you can alter the pattern. That's what I'm not very good at.
I'm so weird about stuff like that. I have this weird thing where I just decide that I can do something, and I just do it.
That's good, though.
I just decide, all right, I'm going to make this way. So here we go. It might not always work out exactly the way I think it's going to, but I usually figure it out.
That's a good philosophy in life.
Although sometimes I do end up swearing and crying. A lot. And throwing things away. There are days.
Believe me, I've had those.
Other than a crochet hook, I think all you need scissors, your yarn. I do use stitch markers a lot. Because I lose track. Do you use stitch counters when you knit?
I don't.
I don't even understand how that would work. It seems like you would have to be very dexterous to... Do you actually click the button while you're knitting, or...
I think when you get to the end, you click it. I don't really know because I do pretty basic stuff. Although I've been working on this lace scarf for probably 2.5 years.
Oh my shit, Sharon!
Because I have to read the pattern and I can't have anybody talking to me.
Oh no!
So you can imagine in my household how hard that is to like, grab a moment to like do that.
See, knitting patterns kind of throw me off a little bit. Mm-hmm. Crochet patterns are just instructions. There's no pictures. There's no little X's and O's or what the fuck ever.
Oh yeah, I don't usually read my patterns that way.
No, I mean they're just instructions.
Yeah, really,
and you have abbreviations, and like single crochet is CS, double crochet or SC, double crochet is DC, and I don't know. You just figure them out. And I'll post a key. I'll try to find a good key online to show you the abbreviations. That's all you need to know to read a crochet pattern.
Yeah.
Because that's just what it tells you. And I'm assuming, like, the only knitting patterns I've used say, like, they're instructions. Like, knit this many, then purl this many, or whatever, and continue that for this long.
Yeah, that's how I read them. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody showed me one with like the X's and O's or the X's and dashes. I don't even know. My brain just went, I'm supposed to do something with this?
Yeah.
No,
like you have to have them memorized.
No. And
a lot of people can read them.
I'd need much better glasses if I could to do that.
Yeah, I know. Because like when you get them really complicated, it's cryptic.
Yeah. I don't got time for that shit. Ain't nobody got time for that. I certainly do not.
I think this scarf that I was working on would probably have been much better to do in crocheting because I probably would have had it done, 2 years ago.
The hat that I made you for your birthday.
Uh-huh.
That I know it looks really intricate and difficult. That literally took me 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I mean, I took breaks. Wow. I didn't just sit and do it for 2.5 hours straight. But total, I would say maybe 3 hours tops for that one because that was the first one I did. It's just super fast.
That's amazing. I so want to learn it.
I'm totally teaching you. When I come up this winter, I'm bringing my shit, my crocheting shit, and that's what we're going to do.
Awesome.
And we'll record a drunk episode while we crochet.
Ooh, let's do it. Up. And let's hope I get a job at Joann Fabrics and I can buy a lot of yarn.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yarn. We're going to have to do an episode on yarn in and of itself because... Oh man, I don't allow myself to go into the yarn section at Joann's unless I'm specifically going for yarn.
Have you ever gone to the yarn garden in Portland in Southeast?
No, for a reason.
It's a block long. My mom and I went in there because I told her to pick out yarn
to Angel I was going to make her a hat. When you walk through the door.
We were in there hours. My mom was touching everything because she's tactile like me.
Oh, yeah.
I had to rub everything on my face without anybody looking.
I like to stick my fingers in the middle of the skeins. Like, it's kind of perverted and gross. Sometimes I double finger them a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, that feels good.
I know. It's awesome.
Actually, some dude saw me doing that at Joann's. I know. And the guy's like, what are you fucking doing? Was the look he gave me. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you totally need to go in
there.
Did
you just say the words yarn vagina?
I did.
I
like yarn vagina.
But now I really want to keep my husband away from my yarn. I don't want him getting any ideas.
It's soft and warm in there.
It is. And I have this special talent for walking to the most expensive fucking skein of yarn in the store. I go, ooh, and pick it up, and it's like fucking a $20 skein of yarn. And I go, oh, and I put it back.
And it's like the smallest skein, too.
Oh, yeah. Then you read the actual yardage on it, and you're like, oh, it would take 6 of these to do what I'm doing? Well, fuck that. It ain't that pretty.
I'll just go back over to the Cascade.
Yeah. Actually, my favorite yarn to use is Carry On Simply Soft.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. We're going into yarn.
Okay, we gotta stop. Although, Have you been to Northwest Wools in Multnomah Village?
Oh, yes.
I cannot go in there.
Yeah, that's a dangerous place too. Actually, I would go in there before I ever knitted
And just look
covet
at
the
it?
yarn. Yeah, just touch stuff in there.
Yeah,
Very tactile.
it gets pretty, I am too, and it gets pretty out of control. Like, you can get some expensive yarns. Some really expensive yarns. But you can also get really affordable yarns. And it's important, I think, for people to know that you can get important yarns, or inexpensive yarns, without using that scratchy, nasty ass acrylic
That's
yarn.
what I love about the Cascade. Okay, this is the last I'm going to go on the yarn, but it's 100% wool. It has a bazillion colors. There's a lot of like superwash ones that you can wash, and they're inexpensive, and the yardage is really long. So it's like if you're just starting out and you want something just to actually feel good, go with the Cascade. Yeah, because you don't have to get crap, and it's like $7.
Yeah, and
$7 to $9.
$7 to $9. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't tend to use a lot of wool just because I'm allergic to wool. So it makes me scratchy and itchy.
But they make a cotton one too if you just like want to learn to make a washcloth or something.
Oh yeah. But there are yarn options. Like you don't have to go with like the fucking giant. Like seriously, there was some yarn at Joann's the other day. They had this like the thing was bigger than my fucking head. And I'm not kidding you. Like it was bigger than my whole head. And it was like $5. It was like a super savory kind of, and I was like, what is, and I stuck my hand in and I was like, ugh, no wonder this is $5.
Ew.
Like who would wrap a baby in this? Or who would want this on their head?
Was it like STD yarn vagina?
It was! It had crabs.
It had...
It was itchy. It had the crabs. Why does everything turn into vaginas and STDs with us?
Because we both used to work in that field.
Yeah, that's true.
Together.
That's true. So gross. So, I suppose we should probably... Oh, I know what I want to do. I totally forgot. We do need to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you what your biggest ever knitting disaster was. Do you have one that, like, a project that just was laughably...
I would say I did a crocheting project that was laughable. I haven't had any knitting ones that were laughable.
What's your favorite knitting project ever?
I really love... Oh, I don't even think I have a picture of it. I really love to do this washcloth, and it's got like a button that you can like hang from your stove or your refrigerator.
Oh, cool.
And it's shaped like a diamond. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
And then I also really love to make this. It's a cable knit beret.
Oh, I might need a cable knit beret.
Yeah?
Yeah, royal blue looks lovely on me. It totally brings out my eyes. Just an FYI.
Duly noted.
Also, purple's my favorite color. So, whichever.
Okay. Shoot, I'm working on a brown one right now, but I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
You might have to wait a couple of years because I'm real slow, but...
Oh, I can wait.
Okay. What's your favorite? Or what's your biggest disaster?
My biggest disaster, I think, was when I first started crocheting. I made a lot of ear flap hats that were misshapen and tended to make people look like they were window lickers on the short bus. When they wore them, like they were bad. I'm sorry, Sharon, but that fly that's been flying around in here.
Did you inhale it?
I just breathed in a fruit fly.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
I just ate a bug, yes. All right. I'm going to have a drink real quick. Okay, so yeah, I made a lot of really, really misformed ear flap hats.
Oh,
and people were like, thank you. And they put it like they were, oh, this is great. Thanks, Katie. They didn't want to hurt my feelings. But they fucking gave them to Goodwill as soon as they fucking got home. But then my favorite, though, is I learned to, I found a pattern for a Bender hat. Like Bender the robot.
I'm trying to figure out what...
From Futurama?
Oh. Yeah, no. Like, it looked like him?
Yeah, I'll post a picture of it. I have a picture. I think I have a picture of my friend's son in one, actually. It has, like, the eyes on the forehead and the little beboppy antenna on top. Nice. They're really cool. I love those. I like doing hats like that. I also made Kurt a sock monkey hat.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
So
I have to say that sock monkeys actually freak me out a lot.
you know, they used to freak me out when I was little. They kind of don't so much anymore, but some of them do.
Yeah, they're kind of scary. I get a little twitchy.
Have you seen the fucking trailers for that new doll movie?
No, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to know that it exists, and now I'm going to have nightmares.
You don't want to know anything about it. That's all I'm going to say. On that note, I'll post a bunch of videos about basic crochet and knitting stitches. It's going to be a video heavy over on the blog for this episode. But I want you guys to check it out because I really think that knitting and crocheting are not as hard as people think they are.
Yeah,
when people
totally.
say they wish they knew how to do it, they can know how to do it. It's not that hard. You can do it.
You can learn it on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Fucking YouTube, man. Just check it out. I'll post videos, though. We did have a listener mail this week, and I am sorry that I cannot remember her name. She's I think her name was Susan. She posted to us before, but she let me know that she's been having trouble getting a review up on iTunes. For some reason, it hasn't been letting her. And
weird.
She was finally able to do it by typing it in Word and then copying and pasting it into the field. And she didn't know if it was isolated to her or if it was a problem. So I'm going to look into it. But if it is a problem for other listeners, I'd like to know that also so we can let iTunes know about it.
Yeah.
And if you have had the problem and if you've found another way around it too, let us know. So you can email us about that or about this episode or anything else at 2artsygals@gmail.com. And again, go check out the blog post for this episode is going to have a lot of videos and stuff for you guys. And I'll post some pictures of the hats that I made for Sharon and I. And you can do that at 2artsygals.wordpress.com. And of course, subscribe to us on Stitcher or iTunes. And that's it. All right. So until next week, make some cool shit, yo. Make some cool crocheted and knitted shit and then send us pictures of it. That's what you should do. All right. Bye.
Bye.